Message from the Senate. Madam Speaker, I hereby announce that the Senate has concurred in and adopted the report of the Conference Committee on Senate File Number 3008, a bill for an act relating to liquor. The Senate has repassed said bill in accordance with the recommendation report of the Conference Committee. The message is signed Cal R. Ludeman. Conference Committee report on Senate File Number 3008, an act relating to liquor. The report is addressed to the Honorable David J. Osmick, President of the Senate, the Honorable Melissa Hortman, Speaker of the House of Representatives. We, the undersigned conferees for Senate File 3008, report that we have agreed upon the items in dispute and recommend as follows. The report is signed by all 5 conferees on the part of the Senate and all 5 conferees on the part of the House. Stevenson moves that the report of the Conference Committee on Senate File 3008 be adopted and that the bill be repassed as amended by the Conference Committee.
I recognize the author of the motion, the member from Anoka, Representative Stevenson, who will explain the report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, members. I am very excited to bring before you a Conference Committee report on the omnibus liquor bill. I think that we can all be very pleased with the great work that members from both bodies and both parties have done to bring a bill before us that modernizes our state's liquor laws and gives a much-needed shot in the arm to our craft breweries and distilleries. This bill, of course, rests on a lot of phenomenal work done by members over many, many years, and a lot of staff over many, many years. And I want to thank each and every one of them for the work that they have done tirelessly year after year getting us to this point. The bill includes most of the provisions that passed off the House floor. We are going to make it so that all of the distilleries in Minnesota can have a cocktail room, even if they are very successful and grow to large size, which of course we hope they do. They would be able to continue to have a cocktail room. We're going to grant flexibility to our smaller distillers so that they can sell up to 750 milliliters a day to their consumers. That's the traditional bottle size, but they'll also be able to smell smaller bottles like the airplane size bottles or the 375s. We free the growler in this bill, and that's effective the day following final enactment. So as soon as the governor signs the bill, the growler will be free, and all of the breweries in Minnesota will be able to sell beer in growlers. But we are going to give 95% of brewers in Minnesota an additional flexibility to sell up to 128 ounces of beer to consumers. That's more than enough for a 6-pack or a couple 4-packs. We also have in this bill the much-needed reforms to the Coleman Act. And as a reminder, members, the amendment to the Coleman Act included in Senate File 3008 supports the integrity of the 3-tier system by prohibiting sole distributorships in the spirits market, creating open competition and maintaining the safe and fair regulation of alcohol products. And the 21st Amendment allows each state to regulate the manufacture, distribution, sale of alcohol as they see fit, so long as it does not discriminate against in-state or out-of-state participants. Our law passed in 1973 had that discriminatory provision, which this legislation corrects. Unlike many laws we passed, we already know that Senate File 3008 will pass the constitutional test because Judge Thunheim specifically stated in his order that a way to correct our law as it relates to the Coleman Act is by passage of this bill. This is the correct approach for Minnesota suppliers, wholesalers, retailers, and consumers. We also are going to say it's 5 o'clock somewhere. We're going to have the World Cup broadcast provision is in here, and then a host of local bills, including the Anoka Social District, has attracted some attention. So this is a good conference report, and I encourage a yes vote on this motion, and then we'll have a good discussion, I'm sure.
Is there any further discussion on the Conference Committee report? There being no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion to adopt the Conference Committee report on Senate File 3008, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails. The clerk will give the bill its third reading as amended by conference.
Third reading, Senate File Number 3008, as amended by conference.
Third reading as amended by conference. Any further discussion? I recognize the member from Carver, Representative Nash.
Well, members, we're here. So I came here in 2015 after the election of 2014, and for those of you that were here, I began immediately yammering about things like growlers and 750 milliliter bottles and all sorts of other changes to our very antiquated liquor laws. And I did bring it here once and was scolded for having a prop, but it was the liquor laws from 1948. And if you did a very nerdy side-by-side reading, you would realize that until today, not a whole lot had changed. We are about to do something really historic, and I had said this last week, and I think the chair agrees with me, that the winners here, no one individual legislator is the champion or whatever. These people who have fought and begged and shown up, testified, tweeted, whatever, the craft beverage manufacturers are the winners. They really are. So the people who have distilleries are going to be able to sell full-size bottles. The breweries of all sizes are going to see some changes in their ability to sell growlers. Those are going to be freeing the growler, 4 6-packs. That's fantastic. The town team baseball. I have gotten a lot of emails about that because all of us have here in the state of Minnesota, we have town team baseball. That is a rich part of our culture, and I'm glad that we were able to get that in. There are a lot of really good provisions in here, and I really hope that we are able to put up a lot of green votes here today. This is a win for the people who wake up one day and they have this crazy notion that they want to open a business making a craft beverage. And now the state of Minnesota has said to them, we know what you're asking for, we're here to help. So members, please vote green, free the growler, give the distillers their full-size bottles, help the small brewers make a living out of all this, and let's all go out and recognize that we've changed laws that were still kind of a vestige of Congressman Volstad, who brought us prohibition. We're changing those things. Vote green, members.
Any further discussion? I recognize the member from Chisago, Representative New Brindley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I just want to say briefly and just make sure people know that there are changes in this liquor bill that have been sought after for a very long time. And again, some of those that certainly my constituents and certainly the brewer in my district will be very happy with. But make no mistake, there are winners and losers in this bill. And it doesn't solve all the problems that we have and that need to be addressed on this issue. And while I am very, very glad to see that the particularly egregious language has been pulled out of this bill, the agreements have not been completely done away with, and that's certainly problematic. And let's just be very clear that this legislature is not binding our next legislature. And we will come back and we will offer legislation. We will do the things that we need to do for our constituents, regardless of what this legislature decides today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Any further discussion? I recognize the author, the member from Anoka, Representative Stevenson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, members. I'm excited for this vote. I do want to reiterate my thanks to all of the members who contributed to this bill from both parties. And again, it's about equally divided between DFL bills and Republican bills. Thank you to all the conferees who worked on this. Thank you to Representative O'Driscoll, who was very key in developing this bill as we moved through the committee process, and with whom I've had a very good working relationship on all things related to commerce. Thank you to all of the business owners across Minnesota who are involved in the liquor industry. And we've talked a lot about the craft folks, and they are really, really important. I love them just as much as anybody, but I also want to say that we have really, really good retailers in Minnesota, great liquor stores, great municipal liquor stores, great restaurants, great bars. We have really great wholesalers and distributors in Minnesota that provide good union jobs and living wages that support families as well. So all of the liquor business in the state are very important, and I'm thankful to all of them. And I'm thankful for the opportunity to travel the state to develop this bill. I said before, I went to New Ulm up to Bemidji, and from Ely down to Rochester, researching this bill. So if you have questions about where to go for a good beer, I can probably answer. And with that, members, I ask for your green vote.
There being no further discussion, the clerk will take the roll. Members who are voting remotely, please vote. Would the clerk please call the names of members who have not yet voted?
Bonner.
Bonner, aye.
Bonner, aye. Barr.
Barr, aye.
Barr, aye. Berg. Berg, aye. Bernardi.
Bernardi, aye.
Bernardi, aye. Davids. Davids. Drazkowski.
Truskowski, aye.
Drazkowski, aye. Franzen.
Franson, yes.
Franzen, aye. Hamilton.
Hamilton, aye.
Hamilton, aye. Hanson, J.
Hanson, J, aye.
Hanson, J, aye. Hassan. Hassan. Hausman.
Hausman, aye.
Hausman, aye. Johnson. Johnson. Lippert.
Lippert, aye.
Lippert, aye. Listlegard.
Listlegard, aye.
Listlegard, aye. Lucero.
Lucero, no.
Lucero, no. Mariani.
Mariani, aye.
Mariani, aye. Mason.
Mason, aye.
Mason, aye. Mecklin.
Macklin, aye.
Mecklin, aye. Miller.
Miller, aye.
Miller, aye. Morrison.
Morrison, aye.
Morrison, aye. Munson.
Munson, aye.
Munson, aye. Noor.
No, aye.
Noor, aye. Pearson. Pearson.
Pearson, aye.
Pearson, aye. Thompson.
Thompson, aye.
Thompson, aye. Davids. Davids. Yeah. Davids.
1 second.
Davids, aye. Hassan. Excused. Johnson. Johnson, no.
The clerk will close the roll.
There's that.
There being 111 ayes and 21 nays, the bill is repassed as amended by conference and its title agreed to.